Hey everyone, Season of Mastery is here, and your goal for the foreseeable future will be to reach level 60. Of course, leveling itself is a huge part of the content in Classic. A lot of people enjoy leveling more than endgame even, but to make your journey from 1 to 60 smooth and enjoyable, there's a lot of tips and tricks you can apply along the way. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. For saving hours worth of content, making a bunch of quests easier to complete, optimizing your character for leveling, and much more, we'll touch on a bunch of leveling related tips in this video that should hopefully help you reach max level on any character very smoothly. I should mention, some of these tips will be hardcore friendly and some others won't be. Use your better judgment if you're leveling a hardcore character. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so tip number 1 on our list is to use an authenticator on your account. The reason for this, other than the obvious security risk for not doing so, is that since Classic WoW's Phase 5, having an authenticator on your account provides you with 4 additional back slots in your main backpack. This is huge, especially at lower levels. You'll undoubtedly run out of space at one point or another during your leveling journey, no matter how organized you are, and this will provide you with more space and save you some gold or silver that you would have thrown away otherwise. Remember, having an authenticator is free now. It's just an app you install on your phone, so take advantage of it. Number 2, make use of the target command and target markers. Target markers are mainly intended for raid use, but they're very useful while leveling too. When used together with the target command, they allow you to more easily spot a target you're looking for, even if it's far away from you, if it's hidden among a bunch of other mobs, or even if it's hidden behind a wall. So this sort of gives you X-ray vision in a way, and all those scenarios will happen very often while leveling. For those who don't know, the way you do this basically is by typing /target in your chat followed by the name of the target, or at least the first part of its name. Then once you have it targeted and you still can't see it around, right click on its portrait, go to raid target icon and select any icon on this list. Then just look around and you should more easily spot your target now. You can also bind the target marker in the keybinds menu if you want to do this even faster. Number 3, never give your back to mobs that are chasing you. Each hit received from the back in WoW has a 50% chance of dazing you. If you're mounted, this is even worse as it will also dismount you. So what you can do to avoid this is to keep jumping and facing the target that's chasing you as you're moving. Use your strafe keys and your mouse and always keep the mob facing you. This could save you from the annoyance of getting dismounted or even from death in certain scenarios, so always apply this trick. Moving on, tip number 4, using and abusing the mailing system. You're probably already familiar with this if you played Classic or if you watched our SOM leveling guide video, but I want to talk about it because this is very useful. So the mailing system in Classic and in WoW in general offers you basically infinite inventory space. You can send hundreds of items if you want and just keep juggling them back and forth between your alt's mailbox and your own mailbox. Remember, by the way, in Classic, mail takes 1 hour to arrive, but once your alt receives your mail, you can return it instantly by clicking the return button. So I highly suggest using and abusing this while leveling to not have your inventory overburdened when you know it will be a while before you go to an auction house and sell all that stuff. And speaking of auction house, obviously consider selling all of that eventually to be able to afford your mount at level 40. Number 5, use spirit gear. Spirit is a very useful stat while leveling. Whether you're a warrior, mage, hunter, rogue, it doesn't matter. It will allow both your health and mana to regenerate faster, thus saving you both the downtime of having to drink and eat between the mobs, and also the gold cost associated with that. Obviously, you will have to do that from time to time, but overall, stacking spirit will highly reduce that. Thankfully, spirit seems to be very abundant while leveling, not only on cloth pieces, but even on mail and plate ones. So if you have to make a choice between 2 pieces, always go for the one that has either a large amount of your class's main stat, so agility, strength or intellect, or the one that has spirit on it. Having both on one single piece being the ideal scenario, of course. Number 6, I talked about this in our SOM leveling guide video briefly, but I'll reiterate it here. Use /cast macros in lieu of having your abilities directly on your bar. The reason for this is that this will allow you to not bother having to put new ranks of newly learned spells on your bars after visiting your trainer. We've all done this mistake at some point where we forgot to put new ranks on our spell bar and have been using an old ability for a while. Well, this is a failsafe for that. And also, this will allow you to have macros for each ability ready once you reach max level, or even for some classes while leveling. I know hunters, for example, like to bind aim shot with pet attack while leveling. Of course, downranking is a thing, especially for healing spells, so use your better judgment for what spells to macro and which ones not to, but for the majority of spells, I do recommend macroing them. Number 7. Take advantage of summoning stones. In SOM, meeting stones, which used to be useless in Classic, now work as summoning stones, just like in TBC. So those are obviously very useful for doing dungeons, and in certain scenarios, these can also be useful for solo players and save you tens of minutes worth of running, because what you can do is summon yourself with the help of another player. So say you need to quickly go to your capital city, your Hearthstone is there, or maybe you're a mage and you can teleport there, but you don't want to spend tens of minutes running back here to your leveling spot. What you can do is look for a player around, invite them, ask them to click your summon, hearth to your capital city, then go about your business, learning new spells or buying something from the auction house, and then simply accept your own summon, and voila, you just saved tens of minutes of runtime. Number 8. Obviously, in a similar manner, you can use Ghetto Hearthing, but this works in the opposite way. If you're in your capital city and you want to go to your Hearthstone location, but your Hearthstone is on cooldown, you can invite someone to your group, give them leader, enter Stockades or Ragefire Chasm, or any dungeon for the matter, then leave the group, and you'll be teleported to your Hearthstone location after a minute. By the way, this isn't proper to capital cities. You can do this if you're stranded in the middle of the world and you happen to have a dungeon close to you and you want to go to your Hearthstone's location. Number 9. Let's talk professions. Obviously, first aid is a must-have for every class, even if you can heal yourself, so learn it and keep it up to date. But then, what are the best professions while leveling in Season of Mastery? Enchanting is a profession I like a lot while leveling, because you can disenchant any item, no matter the item level or the quality, and you don't have to level your enchanting at all. So instead of vendoring your old gear or gear you can't equip, you could disenchant it, and in general, the enchanting mats you get from it are gonna be worth more than the vendoring price of that item. Then, in Season of Mastery, we have mining and herb nodes being more abundant around the world. I tried this for about 10 minutes on the beta and I got tons of ores and herbs. The increase in the number of nodes is definitely noticeable. So you could grab either herbalism or mining, or even both, for making a pretty penny while leveling. But if you go with both, you'll have to switch between find herbs and find minerals all the time to see them on your minimap. If you're fine with doing that, go for it. Otherwise, you can choose to go with one of those professions along with enchanting. Number 10. In Season of Mastery, prioritize turning in quests as soon as possible. The Adventure Waits buff makes it so that the moment you turn in a quest, you'll receive a significant amount of XP. So what you can do, for example, upon entering a zone is focus on doing the quests that you can turn right away upon picking them by having the required items in your inventory already. One example for this is the Green Hills of Stranglethorn. That's 4 quests you can turn in right away for a huge boost of XP. Or even the Badlands quest at the camp in the west. Knowing in advance where those quests are and what you can do to complete them right away can give you a huge advantage. So I'll include a link to a spreadsheet containing all of those item turn-in quests so you can prepare for them in advance. Number 11. On the same boat, I recommend using a Questing Addon, especially now in Season of Mastery. Those add-ons, for the most part, are optimized to offer you the fastest and smoothest questing routes, and they do tell you to buy these quest items in advance, for example, so I recommend getting one and following it. This is not sponsored, by the way, but the one I personally use is Zygor. It is a paid add-on, however, and it is pricey for an add-on. Also, at the time of posting this video, I'm not sure on whether they plan on updating it for Season of Mastery, but on the beta, I've been following the classic version up to level 41, and it's been fine so far. Another popular one is Rested XP. Again, not sponsored. This one is free, and it includes a default guide from 1 to 20 for SOM. You can also buy a 1 to 60 guide for $25. The advantage of Rested XP, unlike Zygor, is that it's not a subscription. You can buy the guide and you own it forever. That being said, you'll only be using Zygor for a couple months probably, and it will only cost you $20 in total if you reach 60 in 2 months. You will have to subscribe again if you plan on leveling other characters in the future though, so the decision is yours. There's also some free add-ons, of course, like Questy or Guidelime. Obviously not as advanced and good quality as the paid ones, but they're there for you if you don't want to to pay for an add-on. Number 12. There's a lot of skips you can do to save you quite a lot of time throughout your journey. For example, one that speed leveler Tommy Salami showed on his channel is the mushroom skip in Mulgore. For whatever reason, if you stand on this mushroom in this cave, log off, then log back in, you'll be teleported to the Barrens, saving you quite a lot of time. Another skip, and probably the most popular, is the wetland skip. You'll have to go through wetlands at some point while being low level. Whether you're a night elf that wants to go to the south of Eastern Kingdom, or if you're a human, dwarf, or gnome that wants to go to Darkshore. The way you skip it is by following this path if you want to go from Ironforge to Menethil Harbor. It will require dying and resurrecting near Menethil. Remember to take the flight path once you're there. And if you want to go from Menethil to Dunmarrow, follow this path, then similarly, you'll need to die by drowning yourself, then resurrecting in Dunmarrow. Obviously, this is not something you want to do as a hardcore player, so unfortunately, you'll be stuck to your starting areas for a while on your hardcore characters until you can safely go through wetlands. And lastly, this isn't a tip per se, but an advice: join a guild as soon as you can. Depending on how nice your guild is, you could receive a number of perks for leveling. For example, in Classic on my previous guild, players used to link a green or blue item that dropped for them that they couldn't use in guild chat, and whoever wanted it could buy it from the person for vendor price, instead of just having it vendored. You could also have a tailor in your guild that could make you bags for free as long as you provide the cloths, and much more. And obviously, being in a guild makes everything more fun. This is an MMO after all. The social interactions and friendships made along the way outweigh any sort of raid, BG, or quest you could do. So join a guild to truly experience what Classic has to offer. But with that, that's everything I have for you today. I hope these 12 tips will help you make your leveling journey smoother and quicker as you're adventuring through Azeroth. There's still a ton of very useful tips to do while leveling, but this video would get way too long. So if you guys want to see a part 2 to this, let me know in the comments, and also drop any tips that you have in there to help your fellow SOM players level easier, and I may even mention your tip in the next video. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a like and subscribe to the Classic WoW Curios channel for more content like this. I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye for now.